Making a Stuart model steam plant, part 82. Replacing the corroded brass union nuts, making a thread adapter for the Stuart 1010V, connecting the modified piping and fitting longer mounting bolts to the engines. You may be wondering why I'm having to replace the brass nuts on the end of the piping. And the answer to that question is incompetence. Not incontinence, incompetence. I made two fundamental errors. First of all, I left the piping in the acid bath too long. I forgot it was in there. A senior moment perhaps, but the consequences were not good. Have a close look at the brass nuts. They're very badly corroded. It was impossible to clean these pipes on the polishing spindle, and as for brasso wadding, which is normally fine, no chance at all. So what is the solution? With a bit of effort, the copper piping did clean up using my polishing spindle, but the brass nuts just got smaller and smaller and rounder, which is no good. But the worst thing was, some of the brass nuts were positively brittle, as though they'd been completely dezinkified, which is something that happens to boiler fittings. Before I fit the piping, I am going to replace the union nuts. What I'm doing here though is making a union adapter from the 1010V, which is 32 threads per inch, to the union nuts that I normally use that are 40 threads per inch. This is a very simple job, and I've shown jobs like this many times in a lot of my videos, so I'm not going to labour the point. One viewer severely reprimanded me for the way I use a micrometer. Honestly, I cannot win with these videos. There are just too many experts out there who know how to do the job a lot better than I do, apparently. I use something called feel, and I can tell when the part is getting to the right size by looking at it. And when I get close to the finished size, I start to take micrometer measurements. But I'm told by one of my viewers that I shouldn't do it this way. But with over 48 years of experience, I'm going to continue doing it the way I've always done it. And in no time at all, the micrometer is a perfect fit on the work. Now I need to thread the part. First of all, I'm threading the part 40 threads per inch. For this threading job, I'm using a commercial tailstock die holder. I'm threading under power and the lathe is running very slowly, and to withdraw the die, I just put it in reverse. In this clip, I'm using a centre drill to create the cone-shaped end to the fitting. To check the fit of the components, I'm using a 1/4x40 union nut and a union cone for 5/32 pipe. And irrespective of the way I use the micrometer, the union nut is an absolutely perfect fit on the thread. All I need to do now is part this component off so it drops into the chip tray, turn it around in the chuck, repeat the process and thread the other end 32 threads per inch. To avoid any viewers slipping into a coma, I will jump to the sequence showing the finished component. You can see the part at the left hand side of this image and a bottle of Loctite 542 thread sealant at the right hand side. I applied some of the aforementioned Loctite 542 to the thread and screwed the part into position in the inlet manifold of the Stuart 1010V. All I need to do now is tighten it using one of my Barco spanners. And yes, I do know that the Barco spanner isn't tightened. I've just done that to upset purists. Even with the Barco spanner not fully tightened, as you can clearly see in this image, the flats on the hexagon of the union adapter are not rounded in the slightest. Here's the story so far. I'm in the process of changing all of the union nuts. I've changed both of the union nuts on the pipe going to the 1010V, but I have not yet changed the nut on the pipe that goes to the S50. All will be revealed in the fullness of time. These are 4BA Allen head cap head bolts. I've just bought some longer ones from Blackgates Engineering, and here I'm swapping them over for the 3/4 inch long bolts I used. This steam plant has not been an easy job. Apart from the problems I had with the mechanical components sent to me by the customer, it's just taken a long time. This, by the way, is not the final assembly either, and once everything is in place, I will give the plant the second steam test to make sure everything works okay. Eventually, I will have to dismantle the plant for shipping, although at this moment in time, the plan could be that the customer picks up the plant when he visits England next year. The 10V is now held to the baseboard using the 1 inch long bolts. This clip shows the 3/4 inch long Allen cap head bolts holding the S50 onto the baseboard. I've fitted the condenser's drain tap with the long pipe that goes to the bottom to drain the condensate, and here I've fitted the pipe that takes the condensate down to the sump drain. This is the exhaust pipe from the S50 to the condenser, and as you can see, I've changed the union nuts. It's really not that difficult to do. Using my large blowtorch, I heat one end of the pipe. This melts the silver solder. I remove the union cone, clean up the end of the pipe and re-silver solder a new one in place. In the foreground, I'm holding a union cone and a union nut, which are new. In my hand in this image is one of the old union nuts that was in the acid bath for too long. This clip shows how bad the corrosion was. The new one, of course, is on the right-hand side. You live and learn, and I will be more careful in future how long I leave parts in the acid bath for. That's it for this one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.